Japanese mythology embraces two religions, which is Shinto and Buddhism, where Buddhism originated from India, whereas Shinto is an indigenous religion of Japan. Japanese mythology is made up of stories of oral traditions about legends, gods, ceremonies, customs, practices, and historical accounts of the Japanese people. Though the surviving myths that are still recorded are only in Kojiki, or the records of the ancient matters, and the Nihon Shoki, or the Chronicles of Japan. Shinto is the largest religion in Japan, being practiced by 80% of the Japanese people, with over 80,000 shrines. Shinto was created in the 6th century to differentiate its religion from Buddhism. Over time, Shinto and Buddhism would come together peacefully, but Shinto defines more of a way of life instead of Buddhism's specific sets of beliefs. Shinto has no official founder or sacred text. Shinto's key concepts of purity, harmony, family respect, and subordination of the individual before the group. Shinto does not explain the world's right or wrong, but to be in touch with kami, or spiritual energy. Shinto refers to a way of kami, which is sacred objects and earthy objects. Kami is attracted by purity, both physical and spiritual. Kami practically associated with nature, and usually dwells in mountains, waterfalls, trees, rivers, seashores, and fertility. The sun goddess Amaterasu is thought to be the most important kami, and the Japanese royal family is thought to be a descendant from Amaterasu. In a Japanese creation myth of Earth in Japan, the world was a chaotic mess, an ill-defined egg, full of seeds. Gradually, the finer parts became heaven or yang, and the heavier parts becoming earth, or yin. Eventually, the three deities were formed as a reed that connected the heavens to earth. They were the spirits mastered of the center of heaven, the august wonderleaf producing spirit, divine wondrously producing ancestor. After 5 or 6 of the deities came into being, the last of the deities was Izanagi and Izanami, as brothers and sisters whose names mean the man who invites and the female who invites. They were commanded to solidify the earth and was given a jeweled spear. The pair descended to the floating bridge of heaven, where Izanagi dipped it into the ocean brine and stirred. Izanagi pulled the spear out of the water, and the water on the jeweled spear dripped into the ocean, forming an island that they call Onogoro. On this island, they built a palace for their wedding ceremony and a sacred pillar. The ceremony involved them moving in opposite directions of the sacred pillar and going around to the opposite side. But during this ceremony, Izanami was the first one to speak, which was incorrect, during a time where women were looked down on to take initiative. Later on, when Izanami gave birth to their first children, they saw the consequences. The child was born with no bones and to be known as a leech child, which they abandoned in the ocean. When they had their second child, much was the same, so Izanagi and Izanami went to the deities, where they learned that they needed to perform the ritual a second time. They mated and gave birth to the 8 main islands of Japan and 6 minor islands. Then they gave birth to a variety of sea deities to inhabit those islands, including the sea deity, the deity of sea straits, the deity of the rivers, winds, trees, and mountains. Last, Izanami gave birth to the fire deity, and her genitals were burned so bad that she died. Izanagi grieved over Izanami, and a deity was born from his tears. Distraught after burying Izanami, he used a long sword to behead his son, the fire deity, to revenge Izanami. From the blood on the sword came 3 deities of rock, 2 deities of fire, and 1 of water, all of which are needed to make a sword. 8 more deities arose from the body of Izanagi and Izanami's slain son. Izanagi still longed for Izanami, and he went to the underworld and searched for her, calling her name to come back to the land of the living. She promised him that she would go ask the gods of the underworld, but she begged him not to look at her as she did. She was long gone. However, eventually Izanagi's patience had faded and broke off the end of a comb in his hair and set a fire for light. He found her body with the maggots consuming it. Ashamed to be seen in this condition, Izanami chased Izanagi out of the underworld. First, she sent the thunder deities after him, and then pursued after him herself. At last, he grasped a huge rock and used it to close the passageway to the underworld. Enraged, she shouted at him that each day she would strangle 1,000 people of Japan. He responded that if she did so, he would cause 1,500 Japanese people to be born every day. This is why 1,500 children are born each day and 1,000 people die each day. Izanagi returned to his home and bathed to purify himself by creating more kami. Purification to this day still happens in Japan, from jogging around in traditional white clothing and chanting, then lowering themselves in ice-cold water. Or to be praying to home altar or visiting shrines. From doing this, it is able to wash away the evil spirits or purify the person or object. Also, many wedding ceremonies are held in Shinto style to this day. There are also yearly festivals that happen each year, such as Shinto Festival, New Year's, Adults Day, Spring Festival, Autumn Festival, and Annual Festival. Many Japanese people keep a tiny shrine in their homes because shrines play a major factor of daily life to bring together different people for festivals and weddings. With this, Shinto can be found all over Japan, with over 80% that have some sense or belief in Shinto. Shinto emphasizes Makoto no Kokoro, or heart of truth, or Mago Koro, a true heart, which is usually translated as uprightness, sincerity, and to have a pure heart.